There are some very key issues that we want to get across to the market, and one of them in particular that's been a focal point for us in the last 2 or 3 years is the whole issue of green procurement. The AHEC teams around the world have been championing this through seminars, through media articles, consultation processes with the policymakers, and we continue to do that constantly to position the industry and our species and the products that we have very much at the forefront of legal and sustainable procurement. The green building issue is one that's emerging now very strongly. It is where a lot of our market is for our high-value products.
Green building is an important driver. If harvested wood products get recognized as a source of storage of carbon, it really could change the wood sector. The Timber Committee forecast a 7% rise in U.S. exports of hardwoods. And in Europe, consumption is supposed to rise by 4%, production by 3%. And maybe that 1% is your avenue into Europe.
How can we restart production? Well, we're going to need credit, we're going to need a better market, and we're certainly going to need prices to come up to a point where it is sustainable.
It's always great to hear that the problems we're experiencing in the UK are similar in other parts of the world, particularly the credit scenario I found very interesting. And there's obviously a big incentive there for end users and governments to encourage legally sourced certified timber, which is great. I thought it was a very interesting topic and great to hear other people from around the world's views, to be honest. So yeah, very good.
I've seen many short cycle fashion changes in wood, but I think that by far the most important trend has been the acceptance of wood as a modern material by many, dare I say most, architects. I think AHEC can claim to have had real influence on some of the longer term trends with regard to American hardwoods, and I think tulip wood is an excellent one, long term. As we watch wood increasingly combined with other materials, as it has been for years, we should not be afraid to promote wood as the senior partner on environmental grounds.
We have a 3-man design team in the UK and 3 in Vietnam doing nothing but creating fashions, creating new trends and new designs, and it is a very fashion-led industry. But in terms of the base material, it's not specified.
A very big advantage that American hardwoods have. They have a very, very powerful marketing tool, and if a species is marketed in the right way and you can convince the architects to use it, then you are the winner, actually.
You guys, as an industry, need to punch above your weight and say, look, this is what we're about and this is why you should be buying American hardwoods.
The presentations on the trends, certainly on the certified issues, on the green building, it's all something that we have to take on board as an industry, and the sooner we do, the better. So these are the kind of forums we have to get it out on the table, because we don't have time in our day-to-day to do these things. We're too busy selling containers. So it's good that someone's taking care of it, because it's important in the end.
More than 90% of traded hardwoods around the world come from non-tropical regions, come from temperate regions. So again, they're coming from areas of the world where the forests are actually increasing. And in the case of the U.S. hardwood forest, over the last 50 years it saw unprecedented expansion in wood use, unprecedented expansion in wood trade, yet over that same time period, our standing timber, the forest in the United States, more than doubled. AHEC hired Seneca Creek, whose findings were so well received by the environmental community when it did the original legal logging study, to look at the U.S. resource. But what it found is that where there is illegal harvesting, much less than 1% of any individual log in the U.S. would come from a risky source. So as you're an importer and you're looking to show your due diligence, well, we've handed you due diligence on a silver platter through this study.
Producers in the U.S. need to recognize the importance of FSC lumber and become more proactive and getting certified, because although American producers don't think we really need it because our American forests are reproducing on their own, it's a worldwide necessity that we start getting certified and becoming more active in it.
A lot of the people that are insisting on some form of certification don't necessarily even know themselves what they're looking for sometimes. I've had a few times when I had to explain to some of my clients that wanted to place orders with me on FSC certified lumber that they needed to be FSC themselves.
I am passionate about timber, specifying American hardwoods. They're good and they're from a sustainable source. We know that. It just has to be made simpler. Our new parliamentary buildings, and over the top of it is a splendid North American white oak roof. And we use that because of the structural, the consistency and the grading of the American wood. The other timbers couldn't actually perform it structurally.
It is the science that will prove that wood has the strongest case in green building, and part of that we intend to embark on a very comprehensive life cycle assessment for hardwoods that's ever been done.
In my view, there's a clear case for US hardwoods as positive materials in green building and to help mitigate climate change.
People tend to presume that medium or long distance transportation is going to be a killer. It's absolutely not, especially if it's shipped. It's rarely accounted for more than something between 2 and 10% of the overall carbon footprint. It's actually extremely important that we put over the fundamentals about what the material itself contains in terms of stored carbon and impact on the environment. Because if wood doesn't make it into a lot of these systems, then the systems will get built with something else.
If you look at the properties of tulip, the one thing it's missing is that ability to use it outside.
We at Osmos are very excited by the collaboration with AHEC. It's a real privilege to get involved with a different facet of the timber business. For the potential for oil-treated timber, particularly tulip wood, it lends itself very well to this method of treatment.
From my experience with poplar, with the oil inside, the stability is very good.
The stability is excellent. From the very outset, we were very impressed with how it took the treatment and the little note finishing that was required afterwards.
As somebody who sells poplar, I'm very impressed with what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
We have spent the last 6 months producing a brand new species brochure, laying out and putting more emphasis on the main species. There's more technical information in there, new photographs, and I think you'll find it's a handy format, and I think you'll find it a very useful tool.
This gives me the fantastic opportunity to meet all the big players, also for networking, of course.
It's great to make new contacts within this different sector of the business, of which I'm quite unfamiliar.
I'm from Greece, so it involved a lot, and it was quite interesting for the Greek market, and it was a privilege for us that eventually the convention was here in Greece.
I think we are seeing a recovery, so we're excited.